What is a hobby that requires little to no money?
Whittling. You can start with a $3 knife from a gas station and some sticks. Learn the basics, take off the bark, make a point, make a sphere, then work your way up.
Origami. There are tons of free patterns online and you can even get whole books with a little ingenuity. I particularly recommend modular origami, where you make a big thing out of lots of small identical pieces. Usually the small unit is very easy to fold, putting them together is quite simple, and you can make something really amazing. It also kind of primes your brain for making three-dimensional shapes in any medium, especially glass.
Juggling. I used to make my balls out of rice and balloons. And #X200B. Edit. First tutorial I found in YouTube, https://www.youtube.com/what? V equals GL3PG130 https://www.youtube.com/what? V equals GL3PG130.
Drawing. $2 plus tax at the dollar store and you've got yourself a notebook and a pack of pencils. Go wild. Playing basketball. A cheap ball costs $5. You can shoot and dribble by yourself and both skills are impossible to master. Most towns and all cities have courts and pickup games. I know dudes that play into their late 50s. Honestly, one of my biggest regrets was to not play for most of my 30s. Gardening. You get a lot of satisfaction from very little money. You also learn a lot. You can start for free with some cuttings or seeds.
Writing. It can be done for virtually no money. Between public libraries with computers and Google Docs, you have everything you need. Or you can pick up the free pen at your local bank and random paper flyers around town if you want to go old school. If you're willing to shell out a bit more, a pack of pens and decent lined notebook is less than $10, and even the most lightweight Linux distro on the shittiest computer either has web access or a way to get an open source word processor.
Volunteering at your favorite charity. I love Leader Dog for the Blind. You get to be around puppies all the time while helping them train to be someone nice. Amazing cause and great time.
Reading thanks to the internet.
Drawing. I draw a lot and I do most of it digitally. I have a sketchbook and art supplies that I use though to kind of plan out my drawing, which I got for Christmas.
Language learning. Not sure about every language, but as a native English speaker learning Spanish, there are lots of free resources. It's time consuming but very fulfilling and doesn't ever have to cost a dime.
Get a library card and go on their website and really look at all they have to offer. Libraries offer so much more than books. Most offer movie streaming similar to Netflix, called Canopy, Linda's entire learning library, expert video tutorials for pretty much every computer program you can think of, all sorts of e-media, and so much more, all totally free. Libraries have really upped their game. Edit. Thank you for the gold.
Volunteering at a local animal shelter. The dogs always need walking, and crave affection and interaction. Edit. As others have pointed out, look at your local anything shelter for volunteering, farm sanctuaries, wildlife things, etc. For those of you who have been waitlisted to walk some doggos, maybe offer a hand to clean out the kennels, or do a less glamorous job. You're more likely to get to do the cuddly fun stuff if you've helped out with hard stuff before. Smile. Also, animal shelters often need supplies that you could have lying around at home. My local shelter is always looking for towels and old blankets, for example.
Sourdough bread baking. It does cost money for flour, but once your starter is mature, you get to cook and eat all the flour, so that's minimal. It sucks a bit the first few weeks as you are trying to get the starter going and having to discard a lot. Even so, I still got a good loaf out of my first bag of flour, so it wasn't a total waste. I have bought a cast iron Dutch oven at a thrift store, but it's not necessary.
Since you probably already have a smartphone, Joe Koching.
Dude. Your local library probably has a ton of cool adult programs. The one I work at is frosting beer mugs next week, and we play Magic the Gathering twice a month, and the library provides cards for anyone who has none.
Running. I started 3 years ago doing Couch to 5K using a free podcast, and wearing an old pair of trainers and tracky bottoms that were covered in paint from decorating. Now I've got more into it. I've invested in better trainers, but I buy X-display models via eBay, and get my running gear from Primark or Aldi. I'm in the UK. I don't use a gym. Just run round the streets or by the river, and run at Park Run every week, which is free. Now I'm a bit better off financially than when I started. I pay for race entries to local race events. I'm lucky to have a few close by, and I'm about to do my first half marathon next week. Really rewarding hobby, and you get fit too. Edit. Thank you for the gold. This is my second or third post ever, so I'm well chuffed. Stargazing. If you live somewhere dark enough, you don't need a scope to still see and identify stars, planets. If you want a hobby that requires money, but saves you money in the long run, try getting better at cooking. I started baking my own bread all the time and stopped buying bread because it's cheaper to get flour and yeast in bulk. Edit. Bread wasn't the best example. I mean, learn to cook in general. For me, bread is cheaper to make my own, but not for many. Knowing how to do a steak in cast iron skillet can get you restaurant-style steak at home at only a fraction of the cost.
Dungeons and Dragons. Most of the rules are out there, and Roll20 is free to join. If you're able to find a group in person, recommended. All you need is a set of dice, some pen and paper, and for at least one person to have the player's handbook or at least access to the internet. It's my fav pastime.
Card throwing. I picked it up a few years ago. Now I can slice small fruit and even cut into watermelons and stuff.
Surprisingly enough, learning foreign languages. While there are expensive courses that one could buy, there are also a ton of free resources out there. The courses that the U.S. government developed to teach dozens of languages to American diplomats are available for free.
Solving Rubik's Cubes. I do this a lot, and I have a nice speed cube that cost only around $5.6.
When we were teenagers, my friends and I used to organize these scavenger hunts over the summer and one around Hilo, but instead of finding things, they involved doing things. The list was something that was always growing, and I think we had like 175 things on the final one, and it was always fun to sit around and brainstorm things to do. Some of the tasks were simple, like take a picture with 5 strangers or form a human pyramid. Some were really silly, like hold a conversation with a street sign for 5 minutes or pretend to be the official door opener for a store. We also had some eating challenges that cost money, but not a lot, like eat 6 raw eggs or eat an onion like an apple. The scavenger hunts made our summers really fun, and we also made lots of great memories. The first hunt was just 4 of us, but by the last one we had like 35 people in teams competing for a trophy we got at a thrift store.
Programming is my choice. You can do it on equipment you already have, a computer, or at a library where there's often free access to a computer or the internet.
Cross-stitch is usually pretty cheap, plus it takes a while to complete pieces, so you get more time out of your money.
I collect spores, molds and fungus.
Throwing change at small children. Nickels work best for distance and cost per outing. It's a win-win. I get the satisfaction and they get free money.
Sobbing into your cat.
People think it requires a lot, but world building and writing. You just need paper and pens for maps, or do that online for free, and something like Google Drive or Word for writing.
Putting river water in your socks. www.blender.org http://www.blender.org. Free, open source 3D software that lets you make lifelike images and animation. There are a ton of good, free YouTube tutorials that show you step by step how to do stuff from beginning to end. Edit. Blender Guru on YouTube is one of my favorites. Andrew is entertaining, hilarious, and fun to learn from. If you've always wanted to be an artist but can't draw or paint, give it a try. Check out what fellow Redditors have made with it at /r/blender. The top all-time posts are especially amazing.
Procrastination on Reddit.
Everything is free if you run fast enough.
Learning how to cook well. Sure, it costs some money, especially when you screw up a dish and it's inedible, But we all need to eat, so learning how to cook, and be creative with limited ingredients will save money in the long run. Corollary to that, gardening. It doesn't take much to set up a box with some dirt and plant, water your own vegetables. Even in cities you could have hanging tomatoes inside, so for minimal investment you can grow your own, and often, better food.
Mushroom hunting.
Online chess. Assuming you have something capable of reading this thread, you have something capable of playing chess.
Learning a new language.
Drawing. Sure, you can have expensive materials, but a set of B, HB and H pencils, a sketchbook, a sharpener and a few erasers wouldn't run you more than $40, and the supplies will last for so many drawings. Might seem like a lot at once if you're starting, but definitely worth it. If you focus on developing your skills, you can start taking commissions, and that's a great feeling.
Reading. Libraries are free.
My thing's sound effects. Here's a T-Rex.
Bushcraft. Technically don't need anything but the wilderness. Maybe some gloves and a pair of pliers, knife. Cut some bramble or vines and you can start weaving cool shit like baskets. Very addicting hobby, IMO. Like you'll probably start off making the same basket over and over just because it's so fun and you don't know how to make anything else. Just lie down under sky and question your existence. Smile.
Coding, photo editing and CAD, engineering design. If you're willing to break some laws, aka piracy, you can get even further. I'd argue that most companies, except Siemens, fuck you Siemens, you gigantic pain in the ass. First you refused to sell us a few CAD seats, then you accused us of pirating the software, then you threatened to sue everyone personally in the small company. Don't go after hobbyists because they subscribe to the Photoshop model where they go after people making a profit and sue their asses. But I'm also not a lawyer, so don't come crying to me if you get nabbed.
Cat spotting. Go out in your neighborhood and count the cats. Go multiple times at different times and you'll never see the same ones. You can even draw a map of where you're guessing they live, of their territories. And like, half of them will want you to pet them.
Saying yes to things you don't want to do, if you know that one, it would have a positive impact on you, and two, you have the time, ability, video games. Used to play them all the time, and now that I've more or less quit to get into other interests, woodworking, golf, etc., I've discovered that moving on from video games was financially unwise.
Most certainly an unpopular opinion, but cycling. You can get an old road bike at a thrift store and ride it until you have cash to upgrade. I rode a $20, 30-pound mountain bike on the road until I saved up to buy a decent ride. You don't have to have the best equipment and the latest tech to have fun.
Guitar. You can easily get yourself a quality second-hand acoustic for like £30. Best decision I ever made.
Thank you for watching. We publish amazing Reddit stories every day. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe to keep the dog smiling.